So the copper that's in these products, is it the element itself? Is the
We're
element?
down to both copper 1 and copper 2, so both the cuprous and cupric form of copper. And that's why we call it a bioactive copper hydrosol. We're down to microscopic nanoparticles that are easily absorbed. And so copper, we are actually the only product on the market that is both copper 1 and copper 2. Most supplements that you'll get are going to be copper 2 only or a copper oxide. Your body needs both copper 1 and copper 2. If you're only taking copper 2, your body has to work to convert to the copper 1. So by taking copper 1 in a or copper 1 and 2 in a liquid form that's easily absorbed, easily into the body, you're getting the most bioactive, bioavailable form. You don't need to change things. In some of the versions that I mentioned in the history, there is a copper acetate. Is going to be great maybe for a topical use, but your absorption internally is not going to be as good. Copper sulfate, a guy named Jason Hommel wrote a book called The Copper Revolution. And in his book, he talks about using copper sulfate because of how inexpensive it is. And he's doing high dose, 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams. But at copper sulfate, you're only absorbing about 10% of it. And as you go up in dosage, you absorb less and less as you go higher and higher. Your body knows that it only needs so much, and it's essential that we take it every day. So when we go too high, we're not absorbing it. So the importance of something like a Sovereign Copper is the low dose for the safety, for the efficacy, but also in the form that our body needs. That's the importance there, which is a copper plus, and then there's copper 2, which is copper plus plus. So it's the cuprous and cupric form.
I see.
And depending on the enzyme that we're talking about in the body, different pathways need a copper 1 or a copper 2, and we can convert. Our bodies know what they need and convert between the 1s and 2s. But again, the copper enzymes or cuproenzymes from ceruloplasmin that I mentioned that help support peroxidase, that supports that copper transport, or pardon me, that iron transport and utilization. Lysyl oxidase is the one that is very important for collagen and elastin cross-linking. So that's lysyl oxidase is the cuproenzyme needed for bones, joints, healthy skin, that elasticity of our skin. Why do we get wrinkles? We get wrinkles because of either loss of subcutaneous fat, dehydration, or the big one is loss of elasticity in the skin. Our skin doesn't bounce back like when we were younger. And part of it is because of low copper. But the other part is, we lose subcutaneous fat. And oftentimes how many people drink enough water every day? I think, people are drinking so many things from coffee to sodas to energy drinks that are now, caffeine is dehydrating them on top of everything else. So people aren't drinking enough water on top of not getting enough nutrition. And that leads to, premature aging. Catechol oxidase, another cuproenzyme, very important in the synthesis of melanin. So melanin is very important in protecting us from the sun's harmful UV radiation. So copper can actually technically be used as a natural sunscreen. If your copper levels are high enough and you're making more melanin, you're protecting your skin from the UV radiation. Superoxide dismutase that I mentioned is zinc copper SOD, very important, most powerful antioxidant in the body. Cytochrome C oxidase. This is one that is so cool, and I never remember hearing about this in medical school. Do you remember that electron transport chain that makes energy? Complex 4 of the electron transport chain in the mitochondria is magnesium and copper dependent. Mm-hmm. So if we've got low copper, we can't make energy. So cytochrome C oxidase is that enzyme, that cuproenzyme that supports ATP. A lot of people, when they start adding copper into their diet as a supplement, notice a boost of energy. So not only are we increasing energy, but we're decreasing inflammation. The body is now moving more efficiently and we feel better. So between the decrease in inflammation and the increase in energy, we feel great. And now I mentioned essential amino acids. Copper is essential in the amine oxidases to break down the amino acids into their smallest forms. And there's at least 8 major metabolic pathways that need the deamination in order to get those amino acids that our body so needs to make everything, all the proteins in our body.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So it sounds like probably 90% of the population is deficient in copper, right? You said 80% have have 2/3 of the required daily
Yeah.
intake.
The most recent statistic I read was 81% get less than 2/3 of the RDI. And I
Yeah.
would even argue that even upwards of 95, 96